welcome to the fourth and final episode of Genes with JoJo. Today we will learn about genotypes and phenotypes. If you recall from the previous episode, we have 2 copies of every gene, and that every gene has 2 versions of itself, dominant and recessive. If a dominant gene is present, it will cover up a recessive gene. Alright, now that we have caught up, let's learn about phenotypes and genotypes.
When we were describing the types of genes we had in the last episode, we learned that we use capital letters to show a dominant gene and lowercase letters for a recessive gene. This combination of letters is essentially what a genotype is. A genotype really is a set of letters, genes, that contribute to a particular trait. How that trait coded for in the genotype is shown is the phenotype. If you think about it like a book, a genotype would be the specific letters used in a word, and the phenotype would be the word itself. For an example, let's use eye color again, with capital B being dominant brown and lowercase b being recessive blue. If I have 1 copy of the brown gene and 1 copy of the blue gene, my genotype would be capital B, lowercase b, and my phenotype would be brown eyes. Not too bad, right? Try and think of what your genotype and phenotype are for these 2 traits. You might need to find your parents to figure out if you were homozygous or heterozygous for these traits.
Homozygous and heterozygous are words used to describe somebody's genotype.
A gene that is heterozygous means you have 1 copy of the dominant version of a gene and 1 copy of the recessive form of a gene.
For example, my genotype for eyes is capital B, lowercase b, and since I have a mix of dominant and recessive types of genes, I am heterozygous for eye color.
Homozygous, on the other hand, describes a genotype that has 2 of the same form of a gene, either 2 dominant or 2 recessive.
It is now time to learn about phenotypes and genotypes by creating our very own monsters.
You will need a piece of paper, 2 dice, and something to color with for this activity. Our monsters will be based on 5 different genes: body shape, wings or legs, the number of eyes, teeth or claws, and body color. To determine your monster's genotype, we will roll the dice. Odd numbers will represent the dominant form of a gene, and even numbers will represent the recessive form of a gene. Let's use our dice to find out our monster's genotype for our first trait, which is body shape. Give your dice a roll. I got a 1 and a 4, so I am heterozygous for body shape. A round body is dominant to a square body in our monsters, so I will give my monster a round body. If you got 2 even numbers, your monster is homozygous recessive and will have a square body. Our next trait is how our monster gets around, on wings or legs. Roll your dice. I got a 2 and a 6, so my monster is homozygous recessive. In our monsters, legs are dominant to wings, so I will draw wings on my monster. Third, we will find out how many eyes our monster has. Roll again. I got 2 4s, which means my monster is homozygous recessive, which means that my monster has 3 eyes. In this activity, 1 eye is dominant to 3 eyes. Alright, almost there. Our monster is looking good, guys. This next gene is whether our monster has claws or teeth. I rolled 2 1s. So my monster is homozygous dominant. Teeth are dominant to claws and monsters. I think his name will be Jim, and Jim has teeth. Finally, let's find out what color body our monster has. Roll the dice one last time. I got a 5 and a 3. In this species of monster, cool colored bodies are dominant to warm colored bodies. Cool colors are green, blue, purple, and warm colors are red, orange, and yellow. Since Jim is heterozygous, he will have a cool colored body. Now our monsters are almost finished. This is the fun part. Feel free to decorate your monster any way you wish. I think Jim will have a top hat and a bow tie. He's a very dapper little monster.
This concludes the final episode of Genes with JoJo. I am very glad you all tuned in. I hope you enjoyed yourself and learned a little about my favorite subject, genetics. Have a wonderful day.